G'day everyone, Jonno and Ange from Ange and I Down Under. Today what we're going to do is we're going to answer the question of why we bought a truck. So you probably wonder how we ended up with the truck. So anyway, today hopefully we can sort of fill in the blanks I guess on that question. I think when we first started it was kind of by accident really, wasn't it? It was actually going back to our honeymoons. We're a blended family that would come together, and when we're going for our honeymoon, we're going to go originally around with the swags and that out of the back of the troop here and just do a bit of a trip like that, swagging around. But a couple of weeks before the honeymoon, the rear wheel come off. Anyway, another long story. As the boys were doing a job in Queensland, and so the truck got towed back and it was sitting in the panel beater and had to get all the back underside of it fixed up as well. So when it came to us actually being able to go on our honeymoon, the troopy was in getting repaired. We also had still do have the 200 series Land Cruiser. Actually, we'd only just bought it. This was going back in 2016 it was. Yeah, so about October, November 2016 we bought it. Anyway, because Ange's mum was coming up to look after the kids while we were on the honeymoon, she needed a car. And the only other car we had, or trucks we had available, was the tipper, which is our Isuzu NPS tip truck. I'll see if we can find a photo and we can insert it. So we ended up changing our plan a bit. Instead of going out bushing the swags, we ended up heading up to the Gold Coast with the caravan behind the truck. So yeah, so it looked like a bit of a it was a bit of a setup, I suppose, watching the little tipper. It was a 300, and we had the canoes in the back and all that sort of stuff. We drove up to the Gold Coast with the caravan behind. So when we were driving it, I actually said to Ange, I said, have a go at driving this, have a go at driving the truck with the caravan behind it. So Ange hasn't driven a whole lot of trucks, but she said, oh, has a truck licence, so, and had a go. And how easy was it to drive?
Yeah, it was really easy. I was actually quite surprised. It didn't even feel like you had the caravan on there.
No, it didn't, because the caravan's the same width as the trucks, as these trucks, so you didn't really feel it. Until you come to a hill, of course. I mean, the old NPS, just, you know, to come to a hill, you know it was alive, but driving on the road, it handled really well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really good, and like I've driven the caravan with the 200 series, and I actually think that I'm more nervous towing the caravan with the 200 than I was with the tipper.
Yeah, so there you go. So that when we were coming back, I said to Ange, I said, tell you what, one of these, because we always had plans to go travelling around Australia, see?
Yeah.
And I said, I wonder if these things come out in a four-wheel drive version. And anyway, of course they do. So we did a bit of research into the four-wheel drive versions and stumbled upon all-terrain warriors. And yeah, the next thing you know, some years later, we ended up with the truck. But the advantages of the truck is that you have a lot of extra weight that you can carry around. So we're builders. We're builders, carpenters, carpentry joinery builders. Also got a motor vehicle repair licence and real estate licence. So we wanted to be able to take our work with us when we're on the road. We're only in our late 40s, and it'll be another couple of years by the time we get to travel. And by then, we obviously can't afford to travel for 20 years on the road without any income. Yeah. So the idea was to take our tools plus our house with us, our home with us on the road, and we couldn't do that in the troop carrier, which we love dearly, and the 200 series wasn't going to do it either, because this truck that we've got now, it has a gross vehicle mass of 7.5 tonne, and it has a gross combination mass of 11 tonne. So the idea is to keep the truck around the 6.5 tonne for us to tow a 4-tonne trailer and have a 500 kilo up our sleeve just in case for a rainy day, if you like. So if we didn't opt to go for the truck, it wasn't going to be possible for us to do what we wanted to do. Anyone that's out there that's in the building game, you can appreciate how heavy the tools are and everything that you need. It's quite heavy. Our 200 series, if we put our caravan on the back with the kids in the back seat, we're overweight. Yeah. The troop carrier is a little different, but it doesn't handle as well, but it's very close to its limit. We're only talking 100, 200 kilo. So say for argument's sake, if we wanted to fill up all the water tanks and carry all, I couldn't carry all my tools because there's nowhere to put it, but I'd be overweight. This thing here, we got all of our tools. We got fridge, freezer, rooftop tent, I don't know, you name it, it's in the back. You know, it's got everything, the kitchen sink, it's all there. And we've still got plenty of spare weight up our sleeves. So it's no dramas. Also too, I think the towing, as you touched on earlier, the handling, towing the caravan just makes the trip so much more relaxing, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done a lot of towing, and the little bit of towing that I have done, even though I've done it, like say in the 200, I always feel like I got my, you know, grip in the wheel with some, you know, when there's like, especially when we went out to Broken Hill and there was trucks coming the opposite directions. You know, I just haven't had that much experience with it. But when we were in the tipper truck, I felt very comfortable. I wasn't nervous at all. Like, it was very easy to drive.
Yeah, it is.
And even in this, I enjoy driving this.
Yeah, I guess the truck's heavier than the caravan too, which makes all the difference.
Because I always felt like, even though we had the stabilizers on, I always felt like there was a lot of movement in the caravan, and it was so much bigger than the 200. And I don't think the 200 is a little car, but when you had the big caravan on the back of it, I always felt like it was more flimsy. Yeah,
it does. We can feel it bouncing and moving. Having said that, the 200 series has way more power than anything I've ever driven. That thing is insane for power.
Unbelievable.
But I think for comfort overall as a touring vehicle, if you're 200 and you've got a small caravan, every day of the week, don't get me wrong, but if you need to carry a large GBM like we do now, this truck's definitely the way to go. So I guess when it comes down to a few things. It was by accident that we stumbled across the truck, being able to tow the van quite well, and then it also come down to the weight that we wanted to carry while we were touring. So for us, if we're going to be living and travelling on the road, we wanted to have all the comforts of home there with us as well. So people could say, what do you got there? And you get it all the time. What do you want that for? What have you got that for? Well, mate, I'm sure at home you've got the big TV in the lounge, you know, you want all the comforts at home. Well, while we're travelling, we wanted to take the same comforts with us, quite literally because we can. And this truck enables us to do it.
And I think the other thing is too, like, if we didn't need to sort of, I suppose, source an income as we were travelling, we probably would have just kept the 200 and a caravan.
I would have taken the troop carrier.
Well, you could have the troop carrier. I'll have the 200.
I'll have the troop. I don't know. There's something about driving a troop carrier, isn't it?
No, but you know what I mean. Like we wouldn't have been restricted by weight.
No, you wouldn't have been restricted by weight. Needless of what say, it would have been a Land Cruiser of some restriction.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good though, because you don't have to think twice. Like, we're going away for the weekend now. Loaded the back up with firewood.
Yeah.
Ange got this real U-Butte fire pit that's weighs 60 kilos. Best fire pit I've ever seen, but 60 kilos. Like, you know, most cars you'd have the tow bar dragging on the ground, but this thing, just throw it in the back. We've got to
I didn't think it would be that heavy.
No, if anyone knows of any good light fire pits, let us know, but a good size one as well. Because at most national parks and that you go to now, they're all requesting that you have fire pits. Where you go. So look, they're the main reasons. It best suited us, and everybody's going to be different.
Absolutely.
Everyone's going to be different. If you're just doing weekends away or a week away with the family, you know, you don't need to rush out and buy yourself a truck, because you don't need it. The average four-wheel drive's going to do it. One thing I can't stress to you enough, though, is make sure you're very conscious of your weights. Like, if you have a look at this, for instance, just to give you an example, we can tow 4.5 tonne, and the truck can come in at 7.5 tonne, but that'll put us over our gross combination mass, right? And that's the same on most cars as well. Just because it can tow 3.5 tonne, if your car is fully loaded, you can't tow it. So just be aware of your gross vehicle mass, which is the mass of your car, and your gross combination mass, which is the mass of your car and your trailer fully loaded, because in most cases, 9 times out of 10, you're governed by the gross combination mass, which is the mass of both vehicles, of the tug being the 4-wheel drive and the caravan, the camper trailer. So I'll probably do a video on that one day down the track, because it does get well, not confusing, but it's a lot to take in, because everybody just sees, oh, 3.5 ton tow capacity, yeah, beauty, let's put the van on and let's go. But it's not quite that simple. Anyway, anything else you can think of why we bought the truck?
No, I mean, look, it has everything, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it literally does.
It ticks all the boxes, like.
It does, yeah. For those of you that have followed us, you know, we got induction cooking, fridge, freezer, microwave, everything's just here in the truck, and we don't have to worry about weight whatsoever. You know, we can pull in at the bottle and put 2-3 cartons in the back, not even have to think twice about it. If we wanted to get ice for whatever reason, throw the ice in the back, you know, firewood, whatever. We've got, as I said, we've got a spare 500 kilos up our sleeve. That's including a 450 kilo ball weight with the caravan. Yeah. So we've got nothing to worry about owning a truck.
And so, I think having the air ride seats, a massive comfort in that. Yeah,
so the suspension seats.
Yeah.
And we did a video on that not long ago, just showing you the suspension seat and the parabolic springs. And that road was atrocious. Wasn't going into Crowdy Bay the other week. And this thing just ate it up. Well, don't get me wrong, it did bounced around a little bit, but it was nothing. It was no more than what you would have in any other 4-wheel drive.
No.
There was some actual cars, we didn't actually show the footage on it, but there was some cars driving out that stopped, that got stranded halfway, and they're doing like 2 kilometres an hour nursing their way down that track. And you can see one-wheel drive. I mean, we didn't have any of those problems, we just drove in. So,
well, I think we even met a couple at Kylie's that entered the track, and they broke, what was it, their 12-volt...
their plug on their fridge.
Because of the ruts was so bad.
That's right, yeah. We ended up fixing their fridge for them.
Yeah.
But that's just what rough corrugated roads do. They are heavy on vehicles, so you want to set the truck up.
But like nothing moved in this. There was no dust. There was nothing. Like everything was in its place when we got to the other end.
Yeah, 100%. I guess the real test for us is yet to come. You know, doing the Plenty Highway, Tanami, Gid River Road. If we can come out the other end of those and we can say the same thing, I'd be a pretty happy lad. But I guess follow us on the adventures anyway, and we'll see if we do come out the other side. So anyway, that's how we ended up coming to buy a truck. It was our honeymoon. We had 2 Land Cruisers at home, and we ended up taking a 3-ton tipper, an Isuzu NPS tipper.
It was so romantic.
We
had a good time.
And the other thing was too is that the truck wasn't set up for towing the caravan at the time, because it was a last-minute decision. So the truck was 24-volt and the caravan was 12-volt. So we did do a bit of free camping, but didn't take a whole lot long to run out of power. But anyway, we sorted through all those issues as we went. But certainly don't regret making the decision to buy the truck.
Not at all.
All right, anyway, that's us for now. Just thought I'd give you a bit of an insight on why we bought a truck and how we feel about it. And if you've got any questions, just drop in the comments and let us know. Anyway, until next time, it's Jonno and Ange from Jonno Down Under. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.